Hi, good evening, everyone, and welcome to EduTALK. EduTALK is a virtual talk show created out of the need for a global learning community, and it happens every single week on Tuesdays. EduTALK features principals, business leaders, dignitaries, and everyone who share their expertise on critical topics facing education today with a common goal of moving education forward and our students upward. I am your host. I'm Dr. Dwayne Dice, and I'm the CEO and founder of Education Solutions International, ESI. Please visit ESI at edusolutionsintl.org for information about the show and also everything that we're doing in our network. I have with me this evening Mr. Mr. Mark Jackson, and he is an educator at heart. He's an educator and motivational speaker. And we're going to have a nice little talk because he was referred to me a few weeks ago, and I was very eager to talk to him because he's making waves in Jamaica in the school that he's leading. And so I want to feature his work and his motivation behind all of that. Welcome to EduTalk, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dice. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Usually we ask people on here, but I know we'll just dig into it. Ask them how are they doing and what caused them to be in the realm of all of this. And I know this is not your first time experiencing a camera.
No.
Right. What exactly do you do in your school, and what caused you to be an educator? What drives you to the educational arena?
I think I was born to be a teacher. And I say this because, in retrospect, coming home from primary school, I would take home pieces of chalk. I created a piece of board in my backyard, and I would regurgitate everything that was taught for the day. And I would name the flowers and the stones, the name of my classmates, and everything that the teacher would have said and done for that day. I would reproduce all of that. And my mother would always say, "You're born to be a teacher and you're going to be a teacher." And here I am, of course, following in that. And one of the things too that really propelled me to become an educator.
Mhm.
When I was in grade 3, I remember I had challenges reading, and my teacher then, Mrs. Lola Parchment, she would have called me to her table every lunchtime, and she insisted that my reading improved because she said, "You're a well-behaved boy and you're one of those who really try hard." And so out of that, I think that I should really get into the classroom to try to reach out to students to bring them to a place, because I look back and I'm saying that yes, my parents were there, but it was this teacher who really took me under her wings and helped me to overcome the hurdle of not being able to read properly. So I think I owe the nation children that, and that's one of the main reasons why I'm into teaching. And now I've moved from being a classroom teacher to a principal, and that's what I take to my job every day. This passion that I want to reach out, touch, and mold and reshape a child's life, and I
Yeah,
try to bring that across to my teachers every day. That is our core function as educators.
yeah. That's very, very real. So you actually wanted to be a teacher in education, being an educator
Yes,
since third grade.
yes, I
Yep.
knew I wanted to become. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very nice. It's very nice. Do you, they say teachers are community organizers and community builders. Do you see that as part of a teaching career now, or are we losing that community or vocational aspect of teaching?
You know, inadvertently, we are community builders because we are actually in the home from a distance, because whatever we do with the children, they take it back home in their environment. So we really impact. How much of that is happening these days in a positive way? It begs the question. I just think that as educators, some of us have really lost the passion for this thing. I know the behavior of the students is not very encouraging for the most part, and also the behavior of some of our parents. But I don't believe teaching is a job, and I think these days I don't have the empirical evidence to support saying, but it is my strong belief that quite a number of the persons who have left Teachers College see this as a job or a means to an end. And I do believe that teaching is a calling.
Mhm.
Now, how many callers to teaching are really in the profession is the question.
Mhm.
Because I can speak from the perspective of principal. It's like you have to be really guiding and molding and reminding teachers so frequently as to why we are in this position and the impact we have on what we are called to do.
Mhm.
And it begs the question as to whether or not we truly are in this to impact lives, or are we just in this as a means of earning a salary? Of course, it's not with all is not lost, but for quite a number of teachers, it begs the question.
Yeah, that's true. It's very true. So what exactly are you doing in terms of the community aspects now of the education impact? What are some of the things that you find that there are gaps in the system and you're putting in place now to combat that or to fill the gap?
One,
Yeah.
the homes are failing. They're also failing in the sense that the emphasis that should be placed on values and attitudes by most parents that's lacking.
Mm-hmm.
Two, there are quite a few parents too who academically are not able to assist their students. So as a school, my guidance counselor and her team, they conduct monthly psychosocial sessions for the parents. And
Oh,
most of that
mm-hmm.
focuses on building parental skills.
Mm-hmm.
On the contrary, what I do with my management team is to look for the underperforming students and invite those parents to parent empowering sessions
Oh,
where we actually give them tidbits on how to be a teacher at home.
mm-hmm.
And so they would come to the session like fortnightly.
Mm-hmm.
They would take their scrapbook, their scissors, their glues, and whatever we need them to take. And we would give them the relevant material. But most of it is spent on numeracy and literacy. And so we'd say over the next 2 weeks, I need you to work through these with your child. And then we meet again and we discuss
Mm-hmm.
and we look at the strides or any challenges that's still abound. And we build incrementally. And I am happy to report that when we did it the first year, we did it only with the grade 4 students. And we had a class that was struggling so much, and we were kind of nervous
Mm-hmm.
as to whether or not they would have mastered literacy. And out of that combined effort between school and parents, some
Mm-hmm.
of the children who were nervous, but we were frightened when we saw mastery. So it is critical that principals and teachers
Yeah.
think outside the box. Don't just get up every day and complain about the ills that exist, but become solution oriented and find creative ways to see how we can bridge this gap between school and community, because
Yeah.
school is built for community, and naturally the school should be an agent that builds community by whatever means. To augment that, there is also the issue where we have a number of fathers who are so detached. And
Yes.
there's a notion with many Jamaican fathers that mothers go to meetings. I provide and mothers go to meetings. So
Mm-hmm.
we have to be breaking that culture. What I've done is started what I call a fathers movement.
Yeah.
And so we would say fathers, all fathers are supposed to come, or stepfather, any male figure in the child's life. And so that has been going very, very well.
That's very good.
I had 100 and we ran out of chairs. I was surprised myself. We ran out of chairs for a room that could hold 150. 50 fathers, and I had to reschedule another meeting.
Wow.
And when you looked outside, the schoolyard was filled with cars, and along the roadway, persons who are passing would have actually slowed down to try to find out what's going on with all these vehicles parked here.
Yeah.
When the fathers came and we did the presentation and show what really happens when a parent is absent, how it affects the child psychologically, even health-wise, and so on. And we went into some data and presented. You could see how they sat in awe. And we also looked at the link between fatherlessness and crime and violence.
Yes.
One father was moved to tears, and many others at the end of the. I mean, I could have gone on. I went for an hour and a half, and the fathers were sitting. It's like I have never seen, I have never heard this. And then when I realized the hour and a half, and I had everybody's attention, I went on till it went over 2 hours, and then we ended. And I'm almost sure if I went for 3 hours, they would have sat there just looking on, because it's like nobody has ever told us these things before. This thing is new. And many of them came after to say thanks.
Yeah.
Say
How
that they're
often?
going home to make a difference.
Yeah.
So much so that when I had graduation and I was seated on the platform, a parent came to call me that I need to come outside right away. And I said, I can't come. It's almost my time to give my report. Then a teacher came and said, sir, you need to come. When I went outside, I saw TVJ, and they're like, we're here to interview you. And I'm saying, interview me? I said, on what premise? And the gentleman said, you're one of your fathers think that you're an impressive principal and the world needs to hear about you.
Yes, yes.
I looked around and there was the father smiling. And in the moment, I didn't know whether I should smile, laugh, or cry. But
Yes.
then he just started interviewing me, and I told him, and it came on television. And later on, it also, a part of what I said is that more mothers need to let fathers in. Because
Yeah.
I'm realizing through discussion with the parents that the mothers, many times they shut the fathers out. They're
Mm-hmm.
filling out the application forms and they don't put even the father's name and number. I said, why?
True.
He's not there.
True.
He's not playing a part. So they just ostracize him totally. So in the interview, I said, mothers need to stop treating fathers like ATM machines. It is important that they still spend quality time with their children. That aspect came back as bite of the week.
Yeah, wow. Okay. That's very good. That is very good. You're actually creating an impact there.
Yes.
How often do you have the meetings with fathers?
We try to do it once per term.
Yeah.
If we see, because we don't want to call them too frequently.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
make it very structural. What I'm planning to do now is to try to give them t-shirt with a logo
Mm-hmm.
and make it into a real movement, and like have a church service for fathers and all of those things.
Very good. Very
Really
good.
integrate them more into the life of the school.
Yeah, that's very good. So you were mentioning when you started that initiative with with the guidance counselor and so on, it impacted the performance level of the students. What exactly changed for the parents that caused the impact on
I
the
think it
students?
changes their mindset, and it's like you taught them how to walk, put it
Mhm.
that way, because some of them wanted to help their children, but they just didn't know how.
Yeah.
So when I realized that and when they spoke, you could literally feel and sense the frustration. So I said, all right, reading is nothing hard. So I developed a 3-step song that I taught them,
Mhm.
and then we went through some simple exercise. For example, to read, you have to know all the letters of the alphabet. To read, you have to know all the letters of the alphabet, all 26 letters. That's the first part of the song. The second part says, then you have to know the sounds of the letters. Then you
Yeah.
have to know the sounds of the letters, all 26 letters. Then you put the sounds of the letters together. Now you're on your way to reading. And
Yeah.
we taught them the song and they sang it. And then we went through. It was surprising to note in that session that when it came to the vowels, the E especially and the U, the parents didn't know the sounds.
Oh boy.
So we did, because they call the U U
Mhm. Yeah.
rather than O.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I say, you don't say ugly. So
Yeah.
why you calling the U U? It's ugly. So after a while they got it, and then we showed them how you can add a letter to the sound, like you get bo
Mm-hmm.
and mo and po and so on. And then when the child gets that, then you can add a T at the end, you get pot and so on. And then we ask them now to go home and do some of that with their kids and come back. So after a while, you could say, sir, me do it. Sir, me understand it. And they might read. And they come back now and you get all the commentary with excitement.
Mm-hmm.
So what has changed is that they now believe that they can help their children. They feel proud of themselves. And their mindset too
Mm-hmm.
toward helping their children has changed.
Yeah, yeah, powerful. That's very powerful. Has anybody ever reached out? I'm very impressed by what you're doing, by the way. Has anybody reached out to you to partner with other schools to see if you can, in other words, share the love?
Yes, I have gone to several parishes, my other principal friends. Because I
Mm,
used to do some online session and
right.
teachers from all across Jamaica used to be on. So I get calls. I've been to Westmoreland, I've been to Portland,
Mhm.
I've been down to Sherrill School all the way down in Manchester. I've been to Trelawney just to do workshop with teachers and to share my experience with them working with teachers as principal. And they're always very appreciative and want me to come back.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
I'm
I
gonna,
make it practical and real to life. I don't just speak from a theoretical perspective.
yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah,
share yeah, ideas and how they can. Yeah.
yeah. I'm gonna put you in to do maybe a workshop in our network too to talk about community engagement. Because when we talk about community engagement, it seems like it's one-sided, like it's just communication between teacher and the parents.
Oh, it
And
goes beyond.
right, right. But what you look at is the holistic involvement of parents in the educational life of of the child and the
Yeah.
school environment. So
Yeah.
it's powerful. Um, so the idea of you take on educational leadership on a different level. And that's why I started off with community organization, to organize community and build community, because it's bigger than that. I was looking at something on LinkedIn recently, and it talks about, in terms of learning and relationship, it says relationship first and learning next. And it went on to talk about building community first before you can actually reach these people, the students. Just like when Jesus was on earth, he fed the multitude before he actually started teaching them. So you have to have that level of relationship with them.
Relationship is
Yeah.
important because I even say to teachers, if you can't reach a child's heart, you can't teach them effectively.
Right, right, right. So talk to me, speaking of relationships, talk to me about the relationship building that you have in the school, like strategies towards, maintaining those relationships. Because, as in schools, in any organization, you have conflict, you have people who want to pull their way, you constantly have to be ushering them towards a goal, you model, you tell them to maybe come to school early so you can do something, leave a little later so we can cover some things, even in with the academic and so on. So it's a daily struggle, push and pull in terms of relationship and professionalism. How do you find you building relationship among staff and faculty?
Mm.
Tough.
It is tough, but I don't remember which theorist in management says a leader knows the situation he finds himself in, but he changes it. So
Uh,
I walk with that at the forefront of my mind every day. Plus, my philosophy is definiteness of purpose is the starting point of all achievements. So when I come, I study my environment. When I took this job in 2012, I became an environmental scanner because I had to know. It took me a while, it took me some years to
yeah.
fully understand whom are the persons I'm working with. But you will try to pick up the skill sets that the different persons have and integrate them accordingly. Mark you, in every organization, you're going to have some persons who are just onlookers.
Yeah.
And those, you're going to have some who believe that they are not susceptible to change, but you don't focus on those. You
Yeah.
focus on the ones who you see are more malleable, the ones who you see have a passion and understand purpose for being a teacher, and inadvertently the others will come in. But what I realize that you must have, every organization must have a sustainable culture
Mm-hmm.
of excellence. And how do you have that sustainable culture? There are some practices that has to become deeply enshrined in the fiber of how the school is run.
Yes.
When I say enshrined, from unskilled staff all the way up to us have to understand that these are the expectations. And that is why at the beginning of each term, I do stakeholders meeting, which involve every category of worker along with the PTA and board reps in there.
Yeah.
And we look at where we're going this year. We set the targets, and everybody at their level knows what they are expected to do to achieve this end. They
Mm-hmm.
also know what are the instruments that will be used to monitor the process. They also know how it will be monitored and know that everything goes towards an appraisal process. So if you want to sell yourself short, it's totally up to you because everything is clearly communicated.
Mm-hmm.
One other thing too, to integrate staff and to let them understand that we all share a part and have purpose in here, and no category of staff is less off than the other. We all have an important function to play. Is ensuring that everybody who joins the team and orientation is done. Whether it is unskilled or teaching staff, I, along with the VP myself, we do the orientation. And that's the orientation talks about our motto,
Mm-hmm.
how it is enshrined into everything we do, because motto is not something that you put on a wall or
Yeah.
you put on a document. People have to understand that this is a mantra that really it must demonstrate and manifest itself in your daily operation. Our motto is strive for excellence. And
Yeah.
so everybody must know that whatever you do in the context of ASCAT primary, it must be autographed with excellence. When I do the orientation and I'm finished, I ask the teachers, do you still have any category of work, or do you think you want to work at this place? Because I'm not prepared to bend the standards, what we stand for. And
That's
I give them a few minutes to think about it. Sometimes I even leave the room.
yeah.
When I come back, they say yes. I said, no, you can evaluate the session because this is the first document going on your file. Then you can proceed to getting the documents for your 503 form. So
Yeah.
when we talk about deportment, behavior, this thing that's some lateness, I don't have those things.
That's
And
very
I clearly say that in this environment, there will be nobody who have conflict and then say, I don't talk to this one and that
yeah.
one. I say, if you have a problem, it's going to be resolved, and it's going to resolve in an amicable way. So even if persons deep down don't really like or don't get along with somebody else, it is not overtly shown
Right.
because there's no space in here for it.
Yeah.
Then with the parents, when you call them in for orientation, you let them know what the dress code should be, what will be accepted if you breach these, what are the consequences, and so on. I have, if a parent comes in here and be rude to a teacher, or if myself, or behave badly, they know that they're going to have to come on the stage in public assembly and apologize before the whole school because they would have dropped the ball and went below the standard of ASCAT. All of them. I've had several parents come on that state. I say, it's either you do it or you choose another school. But
Yeah.
we work as a family structure that we respect each other and we work together in the best interest of
Yeah.
our children.
That's
And
that's
so I
powerful.
would this
Yeah.
this is the standard.
Mm.
Teachers know here they can't dress certain way to come in here. I said professional garb is like tailored garb.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry with the red and blue here. We don't do those things
Yeah.
here. So
Yeah.
from orientation, you know, all of those things. So people know what they're walking into. I said this is an atmosphere for excellence.
Mm-hmm.
And then with all of this, you use some, because all my degrees are in management. So I draw on aspects of management theories and splice them in. For example, Peter Senge is one of those that I think maybe all my teachers could tell you about. Systems thinking.
Yes.
What mental model do you take to this profession? Hmm?
Yes. Yes.
Learning. those things. We speak on personal mastery. How do you manage your personal life along with your professional life and still give good? Because I always say to my workers and parents, I don't want any parent who the salt has lost its savor, therefore you can't salt anywhere else. I said, teachers, I don't want any of you coming in here each day like yesterday's leftover. Each day we come with something to give. Neither do I want any of my workers coming in here with the Pygmalion expectation where they may not go nowhere. They may
Yeah.
can't read. Therefore, you must come into the class with a passion and create a psychosocial environment that even the weakest child in that room believes that he or she can learn. That's
Yeah.
what teachers are called to do.
Yes, yes.
So, when you stand for all this, so some people say, Lord, it's standard, I am stress and all that, and they complain. But when you start commending them by giving letters of commendation, highlighting them, giving plaques, I guess after a while they realize, but there's a reward anyway. So it's either I live up to it and I feel proud, or I don't live up to it and then I have to be dragged up. And then to top this all off, every
Yeah.
Thursday in this school, is called staff empowerment session. Any teacher who has any challenge in any area, there's a window from 3:30 to 4:30 for any teacher to just come to me, the VP, and say, I need help with anything at all. And we stay back and we facilitate the session with them. If we can't, we get an expert. So we provide the capacity building, set the standards, and do the other little things that we need to do in between to build the camaraderie. Not easy,
Not
and it
yeah.
takes a very structural and systematic kind of a thinking to do it to kind of maintain the standard. But,
Yeah.
but realize over time as principal, you have this problem because it is enshrined, it is established, and it is maintained.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's true. And the thing with it too that I noticed, you said you have been there since
Okay.
2012. So that longevity of service, it actually builds and sustains the culture that you want for a long time.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that when you moved out of that capacity, then the other person who comes in can actually maintain it. Because that's very, very powerful to have in any school at all.
Yes.
Yeah, we're winding down with the program. There are a few other things I want to ask, and we're gonna talk again. This is not the end of it. Um, within the school, you that you lead and around too, um, there are some form of in terms of how you structure academic learning. And you mentioned that the motivation part of it too, with this the parents and the initiatives that you start, which is very, very good. How do you see teaching and learning now with the changing with the technology trying to fit into the classroom, and people in terms of staff, faculty and staff, or your teaching staff have to start to incorporate technology in their learning and their teaching. How is that going with the professional development around technology and the teaching and learning?
I would say we're making strides. And then the good thing about it, three-quarters of the staff that I have, I call them digital natives.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the few people who are maybe my age and older are the digital immigrants, and they're the ones who are kind of afraid of the technology. And even them, I'm realizing, are taking onto it. Everybody wants to make sure their Google Classroom look nicer than the other one.
Oh,
So
okay.
this kind of and before COVID, I liaised with Michael, and we were planning on digitalizing our classroom. Then COVID came. I even had a gentleman from Michael came to show how Kahoot could
Yeah,
have been
cool.
utilized, and my teachers started going along that path because I read ahead and look at other countries, and I don't think that we should sit back and wait for the ministry to really tell you what pace you should go.
Right.
Because as a leader for a school, you're supposed to look at trends and implement what you can on the ground on your own. So my teach, and then I have some teachers here who the willingness to help others to come up. For example, when it comes to e-portfolio,
Mm-hmm.
my teachers started e-portfolio before COVID. because
Wow.
I realized that was a way to go. And so much so that some of them are so good at it that they just call anybody who comes and say, come, let me show you what to do.
Yeah.
So
Very good.
nearly all of them have e-portfolio. A teacher left here and went to another primary school. And when she spoke about e-portfolio, the principal like raised his bro and he said, yes, at my school, all of us have to do this. So when they leave here and they go elsewhere, sometimes those principals call me to say, your teacher come and all me hear she a talk about is so and so and so and so. Like they're so impressed. Even I have a teacher in Canada who WhatsApp me to tell me how she's happy that when she left St. Joseph, she started here. Because
Oh,
all the things she learned here, she took it so much so that the principal wants her to share some of those ideas with
mhm.
the other persons. Because my teachers have to keep a daily log because I say you should be reflective practitioners. Write down what didn't go well, what you plan to do. They have to keep a dossier or whatever you want to call it, an anecdotal record for every student in the class. And that is a simple book, whether you want to put it online or you want to keep a physical book. You have the picture. Some go. I didn't ask for a picture. I just say put the name of the child and maybe give each child 3 leaves. So you
Yeah.
write down anything significant, any pattern in behavior that you have seen over time,
Mhm.
so that we can say, okay, I need to refer this one to the guidance counselor. I need to call in this parent. And if you're not there and another teacher comes there, you can really flip through and get a clear understanding of who the
Yes.
learner is.
Very good. Yeah, yeah.
And they have to keep a homework diary. So if parents complain that homework is not being given, I cannot take the teacher's diary and interface with the parent and say, no, but homework was given and was your child here? So they keep these kind of a record. So they used to complain initially that it's a lot of work, but then when some things happen, they say, good thing I was keeping it, sir.
Yeah, yeah. It's
So,
very good. Hmm.
the accountability that needs to be established too with all of these things is critical, because if you don't have a system in place and you just say teachers make your Google Classroom, teachers make sure you do so and so, submit your things online, create a spreadsheet. If you don't have the check and balance, it will not
Yeah.
happen.
It's
You
not
have to
gonna happen.
devise the instruments and you say we're checking every week, we're checking fortnight, we're checking monthly. After a while, you realize the expertise and the easy delivery
Yeah, yeah.
takes.
How is your team? How is your team? Because you don't do this all by yourself. You
No,
have
no.
you have a team that you work with. How are they?
Management team, for the most part,
Yeah.
they share in the vision. Of course, you're not gonna have everybody. I think some people, I don't have anybody on my management team who doesn't want to pull their weight, but I don't think that there are some of us have more limitations than others.
Hmm.
So you have to take a clinical approach with those. Um, there are most of them who you can just leave on their own to just get the thing done and mobilize your teachers and go along. So
Yeah.
it took me years to get them here. So
Hmm.
I will not complain. I would say they are cooperative and they're on the ball. When I was doing my NSEL
Hmm.
last course to send in to be certified,
Right.
I integrate them in the process.
Hmm.
And when we did, part of the thing was to create a customer-oriented policy.
Right.
I get the manager for food services. I said, there's a part that you're gonna have to do. I said, it's my NSEL, but you need to do it to be empowered to
Yeah,
the,
yeah, yeah,
the instrument to supervise class and so on. And the guidance counselor to interface with parents. Everybody had a section to do. And
yeah.
so we put it all together and I put their pictures in there and said, these are the persons who work in this section while I was doing it, and say how I integrated them.
That's very
So I'm
good. Good.
around.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you have a few of them where you still have to,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like pull up a
it's
little bit.
perfect.
Let, let me ask you, Mr. Jackson, real quickly. What how would you think the teachers and the people who are working around you, how would they describe you?
Yeah, I think initially, I think
Yeah.
I was this strict slave driver, they would call it when I first came, because the status quo was changed. And I didn't realize how I came in thinking something, I took some things for granted, like monthly tests have to be analyzed and use data to drive instruction. They weren't accustomed to those things. They
Yeah.
never used to submit their lesson plans and so on consistently as they should have. Other things. And then when I came and I just said, okay, so what do you think about these coming in this time? The managers, they said yes, but they didn't tell me upfront that we're not totally accustomed to. It was one day a manager said, sir, I must tell you something. We are not accustomed to doing some of the things you're asking. And so it comes across as pressuring. So I
Ah,
had to step
yeah.
back and go slowly. So
Yeah.
I think that they always say, sir, you're bright and you have a lot of ideas and you have good ideas. But
Yeah.
they always say they think that I push them too hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
They always say that.
Yeah.
And I say to them, standard is standard, and anything that you need good, you have to work hard and sweat
Yeah.
more for it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you can't say you're not rewarded for your hard work.
That's
Some
true.
of them, some of the younger ones who have come on, they seem to appreciate what I do. They say, sir is very strict and he has his standard, but he's very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you ask of him, he will help you. Anything you don't know, he will show you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Great.
that for me
Yeah.
is is good
So
ground.
how many students you have in your school? About
I have almost 900 now. Since
what?
COVID, I don't
That's
know what
good.
has happened. Some migrate and all of that. The
Yeah.
population seems to dwindle. And I'm noticing across, I speak to other primary school principals, the same thing. Even the grade one cohort is not as large as it used to be. It seems like people are having less children.
Oh wow. Okay.
I'm not sure. Are they have migrated?
Probably, yeah. It's
I don't
probably
know what
both
to
of
think.
that. Yeah. What did you think the students would say about you as their leader?
I just think my students love me dearly. Sometimes I have challenge walking along. They
Ah,
just come and hug you like that. And I mean, I'm not talking about grade one alone.
yeah.
I'm talking about walking and a grade six boy putting out hand before they reach you to hug you to say, morning, sir.
That's very
Children come and hug you. You are the best principal. I just like the way you dress. I
yeah.
just like the way you smell. And they just go on and on and on. So I really think they love it. And the parents too, most
Yeah.
of them, just a few who you have to maybe rub from time to time, but the majority of the parents speak so well of me as principal. They
That's
let you feel good that you're in this thing with them.
yeah, yeah. Very, very powerful. Mr. Jackson, it has been really, really a pleasure to talk to you. Um, I am very impressed with the work that you're putting out there. And what I love, really, really love, I love community engagement. I truly believe that the school should be a driving force behind the changes in our community, not the other way around.
Definitely.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being on EduTalk. We're gonna talk a lot more. And I told you already the invitation. I'm gonna bring you in to do one of those workshops to get people to see how to manage and to operate in a community-minded school. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Dice, and thank you for inviting me on the program.
Yeah, you're
It was
welcome.
a pleasure.
Yes. And Miss Bogle, I have to mention Miss Bogle too. One love Miss Bogle, Miss Bogle Gopal for the linkage. Thank you, viewers. Thank you so much for being on. I wish you all the best and enjoy your week. And we will see you next week with another edition of EduTalk. Walk good, everybody. Take care. Bye.
Yes, sir. Bye. Thank you.